Thanks so much. Again, welcome. A very, very quick introduction. I will ask Mona to say something more about her activities in the Middle East and North Africa region. She's a women's rights activist, and for her age, she has been doing a lot in activism. And today she's going to be talking about the role of social media in women's rights activism as well. I'm very happy to have Mona with us at the Institute and also today, as I trust you all agree the role of social media in human rights activism in general, and then for our focus here, women's rights has been undeniable. Most of you, I trust, might have seen in the news in the past few days the very shocking and sad incident in one of the southern cities of Iran, in Ahvaz, where there was a passion crime, passion murder. A 17-year-old wife and woman was killed by her husband and her brother-in-law because of accusations of infidelity, as always. So they basically killed her, they murdered her, they cut the head, put it in a bag, and went around town and basically displayed the head in proof of the fact that they are taking action against something that in their view was should not be tolerated. So when you something like that happens, it's very difficult to keep it contained. In certain regions of the world, obviously, this is unfortunately more frequent than in others, although it's not a problem limited to particular cultures or particular geographies necessarily. There was a similar incident in Iran about last year or the year before, and that was a young girl, a teenage girl of 13 or 14, who was killed by her father for the same reason. So it's very important to understand. So social media could have a very serious role when it comes to serious issues like passion crimes, but it could also have an instrumental role on a day-to-day basis when it comes to promoting the rights of women. So I think I will just stop here, ask Mona if you could please share with us what you do, what some of your activities as an activist, and then move to the presentation. That would be great. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your introduction. Hello, everybody. I am Hemieda. I have 23 years old from Egypt. I am women's rights activist. I started my activity in Egypt with civil society organizations like CARE organization. I worked as a facilitator in EVAW project. EVAW project working on ending violence against women in Egypt. And after that, I founded a social initiative called Muqtama, or society in English. Our initiative work on speak about the violence against women from cultural violence. We made a debate club, spoke about our habits and traditions which make the violence against women is accepted. After that, I am working as a writer, a volunteer writer with the small initiatives in Egypt called Super Women Stories. I wrote about the violence against women and the relation between the cinema and the violence against women in our society. And now I am Restless Development Yes Power panel member to speak about the violence against women, not only in Egypt, but also in MENA region. Restless Development is an NGO in London, work to make the voices of the youth heard in the world by making or by using the power of social media to make social campaigns. This was about my activity in civil society. Also, I have an activity related to human rights and democracy with DADI, Danish Institute of Dialogue in Egypt. I worked with youth in democracy and positive participation camp. I have a lot of activities, but I will speak about which related to women rights. I think this all of them. Liel can share the screen. Okay. The role of social media in making women voices heard. Okay, the next page, please, Liel. Okay. One Middle East, one suffering. In this research, I spoke about the women's and their suffer in Middle East. So I think it is the same reasons: the patriarchal family, religious extremism, conservative society, absence of laws which is fair to women. This is the reality of the women in Middle East. The next page, please. Here I will speak about why I am interested in this research topic. As we know, and we will share in this research, social media played a vital role uh, in talking about human rights, not only women rights, um, for many people around the world, and for me especially, regarding women rights beliefs, my rights, and I observed this impact wasn't for me only, but for many girls in Egypt. Secondly, I didn't find many research talked about this topic in Egypt or in Middle East. Uh, it was about the role of social media for our Arab Spring revolutions. But after this time, I didn't find. The next page, please, Liel. Okay. Social media and breaking the barrier of women's fear. As I observed, social media enabled women to break the three taboos: sex, religion, and politics. To talk about sexual abuse, injustice in the name of religion, and to motivate political leaders to pay attention to the suffering of women. The next page, Lian. In this topic, I will speak about the hashtags which used in our social media platforms in Egypt and in Middle East. Next page. The first and the most popular hashtag, it was about stop killing women or stop femicide crimes. This photo was from the women's or feminism movement in Kuwait. The next page, please. And this hashtag review the feminine of killing women in Middle East, sometimes in the name of honor, sometimes to take their inheritance. As in Egypt, we found a man killed his sister to take her inheritance. And unfortunately, these crimes more popular in our region. And the domestic violence inflicted upon them with the absence of law which criminalized the domestic violence in our region until now. The next page, please. Also, these hashtags dealt with victims from Palestine: Amal Ghazi, Madeleine, Noor Al Saeed, Isra Gharib, Rozan Nasser. This hashtag was about Palestine feminists. These names was the victims of our patriarchy, and this hashtag was popular to talk about the killing women because of our habits and traditions. The next page. We will speak after this. We will speak about the feminist movement in every country. We will include Yemen, Egypt, and Tunisia. We will start with the Yemen. Yemen has many hashtags, but all of them, or the majority of them, rejecting forced marriage for girl children and victims of domestic violence. Like we are all Marwa Al-Baitri, and they talked about the woman whose husband burned her alive in front of her children. This was a very, very credible crime happened in Yemen. The next page, please. Okay. This is the photo of hashtag happened now in Yemen. Next page, please. And this hashtag speak about my passport holder without guardianship. As we know, Yemen now one of countries which is in conflict. And the last hope for many women in Yemen to escape to a country more safe than the Yemen. But unfortunately, because of the guardianship of men on the women, they can't to take their passport without guardianship. The next page, please. Okay. The next movement will be in Tunisia. Tunisia is more different from other countries in Middle East, as it is more progressive country which we will speak now. The next page. Okay, this photo is about the equality in inheritance. It spoke about in Arabic المساواة في الميراث، حق مش ميزيا, which mean the right for women in equality in inheritance is their right, not a gift from men. The next page. Okay. The demand for equality in inheritance, it was a move led by Tunisian President Essebsi, and it was supported by many civil society organizations and women in Tunisia, and it spread in the rest of Middle East countries. The next page. Now we will talk about women's needs in Egypt. Unlike women in Tunisia, which aspire to equality in inheritance, women seek to take the right, which represent half of the share of men in Egypt regarding the inheritance. We will show this hashtag. Next page. Okay. This hashtag was led by a small initiative called Super Women Stories. It is a feminism initiative in Egypt. The next page. The hashtag titles was "Where is the Women's Inheritance?" Campaign led by a feminist initiative called Super Women's, as I mentioned, talk about the right of women to take their right in inheritance in which they cannot to take in many families in Egypt. The next page. Okay. No to polygamy in Egypt. The next page. We will talk about the photo. No to polygamy in Egypt. Despite the criminalization of it in Tunisia and restrictions in Morocco, hence in Egypt, the feminist Samira Abdelkader established this page to monitor the polygamy in Egypt. As in Egypt, it is without any controls. The next page. The Guardianship is My Right, a campaign launched by the Women and Momeri Foundation. It is an Egyptian NGO to speak about the woman's right to educational guardianship and the right in her body in some operation without the guardianship of women. As regarding to our Egyptian law, women women don't have the right of educational guardianship. This is the right of the man. The next page. Towards a unified civil law. This campaign demanded the change of personal state law in Egypt, which are subject to religious interpretation for centuries, and the law wasn't amended from the 70s. The next page. For full, I'm so sorry, for full citizenship for women. And this campaign, the next page, please. This campaign talked about the doctor who was thrown from his balcony of her house, where she lives alone, and this comes to the rejection of many members of society that women are independent citizens. The next page. Yes, finally, thank you. Waiting your comments and questions.
Sorry, I seem to be on mute. Thank you so much, Mona. Is this the end of your presentation?
Yes, I will end it with a question related to the challenge of women rights defender in social media regarding the social standards of Facebook. As Facebook, the last time
Lise has a question, Mona. Lisa?
Yes, I will complete regarding the Facebook social standards. So many of women rights defenders in Facebook have many challenges regarding the Facebook social standards, which which has restriction regarding the posts of women rights and their call of their right under its social standards regarding when we put the men in post, Facebook can delete it or can block our account because it considered for Facebook unpeaceful post or unpeaceful speak regarding men. Thank you.
Thank you. Interesting that Facebook intervened to this extent. At least I think you had a question. You may want to go forward.
Thank you very much. Mara, thank you. It's really fascinating to listen to you. I have a question. I know it's probably very unfair to ask you, but I find it interesting and I'm grateful, obviously, for the fact that social media is letting women's voices being heard. But at the same time, do you not think that social media actually also, I mean, okay, let me rather tell you the example first and then ask my question. I saw a report the other day of a woman that was fired from a job and completely ostracized from society because she was on I think it was some sort of cruise ship or something. And she, I think, if I remember correctly, it was somewhere in Egypt, but I could be wrong, so please forgive me if I am. And she was having, it was a function and a family function, a wedding or something, and she was dancing with some other men whom she obviously was not married to. And the consequences of that, because this video went viral, so one of her colleagues or one of her family members, I can't remember who, had then posted, so my question is really, do you not think that there's also at the same time, that these hashtags are now becoming popular, but also a greater danger of women being even more, prosecuted, if I can use that word, because of videos and things that they are saying. And then my follow-up question is actually these campaigns that you are talking about, these hashtags, what have the
sorry, Lisa, if you don't mind, could I please interrupt? Mona cannot hear you, and there is a lot of feedback on your side, so it's not, there's a lot of static, so you're not coming across very clearly.
I'm going to take this off. Okay, can you hear me better now?
No.
No.
It's the same. It's the same. Okay. Sorry about that.
I'm going to just stop. Oh, I'll have to fix that.
Liz, do you, another suggestion is just to quickly type, like, I know you would have to shorten the message, but there is a lot of hash, like background noise.
Yeah. Okay. I will do that.
It would be ideal if we could all hear each other, but this is the world we live in, I guess.
Hengame, Marco has a, sorry, I'm not sure if I got your name right. Has a question. Lisa, did you want to go? Lisa, do you want to go ahead? Okay. Okay. Marco, please.
Hi, thank you very much for the presentation. Yeah, my name is Maria Corrina, but they call me Mako, shorter.
Thank you.
So I am no, thank you. I'm doing studies on the Me Too movement in Mexico and Venezuela, and I have like two questions. First, because I was interested, the term femicide and feminicide, which feminicide was coined more in the context of Mexico and the region of the Americas, have been used as a way to understand how this concept it's related to the state mission to investigate. I was just wondering if there is any discussion, Mona, you were talking about femicide and not feminicide, but it's very, very particular region to Latin America. I'm wondering if you have in your region have developed this concept. And the other thing, and I think it's part of what Lise was mentioning, in some countries where you have some autocracy or some regimes that are not very democratic, the criminal power of the state has been used to persecute, dissidents. So I'm just wondering, how does this play a role in the case of your story, or your study, or if this has even come up into your research? Because in the case of, for example, Venezuela, which the regime has used the criminal state to persecute, then it's also like trying to do like a purple washing on, hey, we're helping women, but then still the way they are prosecuting is of course not following any due process, and it's very specific to the persons that they want to prosecute. So it's a very complex situation. So that's my question. I hope you understand the question, or I'm making myself clear. I'm just randomly asking a couple of thoughts that I have. And thank you for the presentation, an interesting topic.
Thank you, Marco. Okay.
Do you want to answer the question, Mona, before we move to the next question?
Okay, I will answer regarding the first question regarding the difference between feminicide and femicide. I don't think we have progress regarding these topics in our country or in our region, and the terminology itself, we didn't use it in many times. In Egypt or in MENA region, we can call it like any usual murder crime, not a crime towards a woman in a specific case. Regarding the second question, if I understood, you ask about if our regime or our countries or move to solve these problems, or what? Like investigations, right?
Yeah, to summarize, it will be more like the pervasive use of the criminal law by regimes that might not be democratic have been used to also prosecute the person that have been reported as perpetrators of those crimes. Like, how is the correlation between social media movement hashtags and the power of the state? Yes. I don't know.
I think regarding this hashtags, the most positive movement or role it played was the movement of our civil society organizations to make or to make the government and the political leaders to pay attention of these crimes. Regarding when we will research for a legal solution, we will find two problems. The first regarding the legal definition of these crimes, as we have a very complicated problem regarding our legal education. So we don't have any research center in our law schools. We don't have developed research regarding women's rights, and these problems definitely will make this case it doesn't or I'm so sorry, which I want to say the problem come in first in our legal education related this issue. After that, regarding the legal terminologies regarding these crimes, which will which we try to speak about it in our social media platforms, to make our political leaders to amend this in our in our laws. This the all we can do by using social media platform. But I think the problem comes with the numbers of women in our legal in our law school, the numbers of women in our parliament, to speak about this case. But in the last time, when we spoke about these crimes in social media, the positive thing which happened, that our public prosecutions investigated these crimes very quickly, and arrested the men who committed these crimes. Thank you. I am so sorry of my bad English, firstly, if you understood. Okay.
Mona, Lisa put her question in the chat.
Okay. What has been the response of this social media campaign? Okay. I think I answered this question in my last part, as the last time. This is social media campaigns and hashtags motivated the public prosecutions and political leaders to speak about this issue in parliament and in general. I think like we spoke about the right of for women to join the public prosecution and the state council in Egypt, in our social media platforms. And finally, in this year, women can join the public prosecutions and state of council. So it has been a struggle. Yes, Mark, we have the same problem. Okay.
Mitra, do you want to go ahead?
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much, Mona. It was very interesting presentation for me, because I'm working on the same topic on the context of Iran. However, I believe that, social media make many women causes and demands visible to the public sphere. But as I observed in the context of Iran, many patriarchal beliefs and many misogynistic approaches are at the same time are being produced by anti-feminist or patriarchal members of the society. It would be very interesting for me to know about your observation of this dark side of the social movement, social media, which has been strengthened after the visibility of this sort of digital feminist movements.
Mona, do you want to take the question? I guess Mitra's point is more about, I'm not even sure if I'm on mute or not.
Okay, Mitra, I'm so sorry, I can't hear you, but you spoke about the black side or the other side of social media.
I was talking about the reproduction or the visibility of anti-feminist approaches or misogynist or patriarchal beliefs, which is produced on social media against women causes or against digital feminism on Middle Eastern countries. Do you have such an observation in the context of Egypt?
Yes. Regarding Egypt and every country in MENA region, as I observed, many women rights defenders faced an harassment and sexual abuse from men who refuse these posts or these campaigns. Sometimes it became certain of killing or certain of to tell her parents about her opinion in Facebook, making violence against women rights defender, as I observed, and stalling their photo. Their photo and making sexual harassment on them. Yes, I think in social media we face the same challenge in our country regarding the people. But I think in social media we can blog them, we can make our posts for who can support us. But I think the same challenge regarding the harassment, sexual abuse, and I think regarding women rights defender, it is more than any women. I think it is like reaction for their opinion, violence because of their opinion. Or because of they raise their voices to speak about the violence.
Thank you so much.
Can I ask a question if there is no one else? No other question, Leah? Is there any other question?
No, please go ahead,
Okay. Mona, I just wanted to ask if you have had an opportunity to look at the role of social media in women's rights, promotion of women's rights in other contexts or other countries in the world. Is it really the case that, so if you were to make a statement that social media has been more important in more conservative countries or in Western countries, what do you think? Do you think it's been more important in conservative countries in at least making women's issues more visible, or how do you see the difference between different uses of social media around the world? Have you had an opportunity to think about that if social media has been a more important tool in the Arab world or in the Middle East compared to Western countries, or maybe on average, do you think social media have been a useful instrument in human rights activism or they have harmed more than they have helped, meaning that their costs have been more than their benefits overall on average.
Okay, as
I think this is Mona is disconnected. Is that right?
No, she's on, but her mic is off.
I am so sorry. I will answer the question.
Okay.
As I understood, you asked about the difference between Western and Eastern countries regarding the role of social media. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. I think I didn't read a lot about this, but I think regarding our region, social media has a vital role more than Western countries. Regarding, I think it is the only way which will enable us to speak about our case, or to speak about the violation regarding women rights or any human rights violation. But I think in our region we don't have more protection
Right.
regarding using social media.
Right.
Sometimes our laws prevent us from speak more about our rights without any legal protection.
Yes. Thank you so much. And Marco, this is a very, it sounds like a very interesting title of the book that you recommended. From the title, it sounds really interesting. Any other questions? Okay, so if there are no other questions, Mona, is there anything else you would like to add, or we can wrap up the talk at this point?
Okay, I don't think, but I will ask about from everybody perspective how we can make our social media platform more effective to speak about rights as women without any danger from our societies, which refuse to talk about this issue.
And this is, of course, a conversation that as part of the network of fellows, you can continue, especially those of you who are working on similar subjects. This is a conversation that you can continue outside and beyond this presentation as well. So if there are no further comments, thank you very much, Mona, for this presentation. Obviously, we wish you best of luck with your activism. It just, it's very encouraging to know that people of, as young as you are and at this age are being so active in this context. We will have more talks coming up. I wonder if we have sent the list of upcoming talks. Have we, Liel, or have we posted so people have a sense of the number of talks and topics that are coming up?
I've only sent the one that's coming up for
Oh, okay.
Lisa's,
Okay.
because that's immediate. I did not want to confuse everybody with so
Sure,
many talks.
sure, dates, exactly, exactly. So there will be more talks because you know, we didn't have as many fellows starting in the fall. There are more fellows and more talks. So I look forward to getting together again, you know, unfortunately still virtual, but getting together a few more times for the rest of the semester. Thank you so much again, Mona. Thanks so much, Liel, for facilitating this. And I look forward to seeing all of you soon again for other talks.
Thank you. Goodbye.